Ladies, gentlemen, this is Legally Speaking, and this episode is brought to you by no other brand than our top sponsor, Aruno Suit. And tonight, we are going to talk about something that is causing chaos in the media, has led to a lot of controversy, and different opinions have been tabled on this subject matter. But before we dive into it, I'd like to introduce my co-host, no other person than Emmanuel Bamigbade, ESQ. B. Tracy, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So today, let me start with this simple question. Do we have the right to bear arms?
In Nigeria, unlike in United States of America, we sadly do not have the constitutional right to bear arms. And that is because our constitution does not guarantee, like the US Constitution, our constitution does not guarantee a right for us to possess firearms or weapons to protect ourselves. So that's, as a result, Nigerians who have access to firearms are people that are actually specially privileged people. For instance, the Firearm Act guarantees that people who are security operatives, people who are trained, police officers, people who are enforcers of the law in general, they get to possess the firearms. But even private individuals too, that want to possess firearms, they have to be very important people, and it has to be approved by the Inspector General of Police. So it's not just for every basic person in Nigeria.
Okay, I thought we agreed that all men are created equal. Which one is all basic person? Are you saying their qualification under the law that, there are requirements?
Yeah, there are definitely requirements.
So technically it's for everybody, but there are requirements to be met.
Yeah, definitely. Requirements
I think that's a better way to put it. So now, that being said, there's a case. EFCC barged into somebody's house. One EFCC officer was killed. The other remained injured. What is happening? I don't have the clarity. For someone that don't have the full story, what part of the story have you?
The funny thing about that story is that it's not fully cut and dried and everything. Because let me just walk everybody through how the stories,
the narratives.
The narratives.
Okay.
So there's a narrative by an account on Twitter who just wrote the story in full, even before our media houses were telling the story. And then there's a story that media houses are telling us. And then there's the story that the EFCC are telling us. So it is.
So what separated these three stories?
It's a kind of three-way story. The story by the EFCC is that two officers, like EFCC officers, went on their daily raid. They raid fraud, the people who are into fraud. So they went to their house, and then
before we go further with your story, do EFCC have the right to raid like that?
Yeah, they do.
I thought it's police job to.
No, it's the job of EFCC as well to actually raid, like to give a surprise attack, so that those people will not pack their stuff and run away. Okay. Because the EFCC is against corruption in general, any type of thing corrupting the Nigerian populace, youths and adults, as the case may be. So that's the job of EFCC. They
have the right to carry Yahoo Boys.
So they have the right. Yes, they have the right to arrest Yahoo Boys. And people that are high profile, people that are stealing
white collar criminals.
So that's their job actually.
Okay.
And anybody that is corrupting the nation, that's just their job. Financially, like financial corruption. That's the job of EFCC.
Okay, now let's dive into the EFCC story.
The EFCC story. Yesterday, during the early hours of that day, these people went to raid this.
So you are quoting them now. Early hours of
that day. I want everybody to note that. Early hours of that day. They went to raid this suspected Yahoo boy. And immediately when he was not going to open the door, they had to force their way in, and they opened fire on the officers. And one of the officers lost his life. May so rest in peace in the process. And then another one was hospitalized. So And then they said that people should stop with the narratives that is going around on social media. Now, there's a different story.
Okay, from which source now?
From a particular account on Twitter,
Okay.
a random account on Twitter, who just reports, those kind of accounts now.
Yeah.
Those stories. And this one is more descriptive. This story is that it was at 3 a.m. in the morning, and that these EFCC officers just barged in, and the person who shot them thought they were armed robbers.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulled out his gun
Mm-hmm.
to, like, in self-defense, and then shot at those that were barging into his house
Okay.
at random time. This story showed that the EFCC did not declare themselves to be who they are or anything. They just barged in. And it was 3 a.m.
Okay.
So he said so that we alert the neighbors. That was how the story was told.
Okay.
That he shot them, and they ended up being one of them ended up dead. The other they ended up being rushed to the hospital, of course. And the funny thing is that, according to that story, they said the reason why the EFCC officers went into the house was because they saw, I think, a Benz and a Lexus, and they felt like these people have to be Yahoo boys. Note, this story does not have any credibility to its source. It's just this random account on Twitter that said that. So he said that was why they entered at 3 a.m. and then they did that, and one of them got killed. And then it was that story that included the part that the man had a licensed gun, that the gun was licensed, so he didn't just shoot with an unlicensed gun. That was the only story that included that part. And then that he had this so many lawyers that they have accompanied him to the EFCC office and everything like that. That was the story from them.
Now,
but
what the story from the media?
From the media was also that in the morning of that day,
okay,
they didn't specify the exact time.
EFCC failed to specify time.
They just said early hours of that day.
Media
said in the morning.
Said in the morning.
And then they were like, that morning, these guys had completed a raid somewhere.
Okay.
That's in Anambra, Oka. They had completed a raid, and then they were like, because they were short-staffed, they decided to go to smaller than going to bigger raid. On a bigger raid. So they went to a smaller place, and when they got to the place, they told the gateman to show them where they are going. The gateman pointed them to where they were going. They said they introduced themselves as EFCC officers, and the guy did not open the door. So when the guy did not open the door, they decided to break in. And once they broke in, they were met with bullets. And this story did not include that the gun was licensed. It did not include that the guy was...
How many media sources are we talking about here?
Like, I'm talking about like Premium Times, these days, as many news outlets as possible. And when you compare their stories, it was almost the same.
And there's no mentioning of the
gun being licensed
or anything.
And even the fact that the guy was already, because they said it was not known at the time of the report whether the guy hired a lawyer or not.
Okay.
So it is stated in those news outlets. And it was in those news outlets that we heard that the guy that was killed, his name Salisu. So those were the details, and he was recently promoted after writing an exam, a promotional exam.
Okay.
So those were the stories we got from there. But every other one was from this outlet guy that spread like wildfire on Twitter.
Okay, interesting.
So that's basically it.
So now, here we have the story. Now, legally speaking, where are we? What happened here? What can we say? Who is at fault? In what scenario is someone at fault? What is happening here? Since we don't have the right to bear harm, this person, I think that's where we should start from. This person having a arm, and you are saying there's an unreliable source that said
it was licensed.
Yeah. So what is happening here? What is the verdict?
If in a situation where it was actually a licensed
gun, okay,
and the man was being attacked, was being raided at 3 a.m. in the morning,
like that source,
like the source claimed, it's very easy for him to claim self-defense, because how else are you supposed to defend yourself if you have a licensed weapon and then criminals barge into your house in the middle of the night? You are under attack. Your family is under attack. Anybody might be harmed, anybody might be hurt. But once you pull out your gun and start shooting, it will at least send them away. And so that is very easy to claim self-defense. Although there's a weakness to a self-defense claim, given that one of the people lost his life, which is that you do not, in such situation, you don't need to shoot to kill somebody, like to cause grievous bodily harm. Like you just need to shoot in a way that shows that you are scaring the assailant away. But there's another thing. If you feel like your life is threatened and that the only way you can defend yourself is by killing that person, that is also a good self-defense claim. So in this situation, it will probably be more difficult for the person to show that he was defending himself by killing that person. But it's still possible. It's still very, very, that story is very plausible because this is 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. We know what armed robbers do at those time. I think anybody can, if you lose your life in that kind of situation by breaking into somebody's house, you should expect it in that kind of situation. But if that was not the case, and that the EFCC guys identify themselves properly, which is usually the the standard practice, is wrong to fire against law, to fire anything at a law enforcement officer. That is totally wrong. It even signals that it's even signals towards his guilt than any other thing. So which is a bigger problem for him, and he's still going to be charged with first degree murder. So that is a very, very serious problem. If they identify themselves properly, that's what I'm saying. And okay, which is the third scenario, which is the scenario that even if it's with a licensed gun, it does not matter. The only difference is that if he did not have a licensed gun, is that he's going to be charged with illegal possession of firearm. So that is going to be added to his charges, and that's just what's going to happen in that. That's what's going to be different in that kind of situation. And then about the self-defense claim earlier, even if he was in self-defense, really, but he was possessing an illegal firearm, he will still be charged with that one too.
With illegal firearm.
Illegal charge. So
possession of illegal.
You should not mix those things up.
Yeah.
But the worst case scenario that the firearm was illegal, it was in the broad daylight in the morning that they came to his house. That one is even a worse position to be in for him.
So that way, if he's in a broad daylight raid, like early in the morning, and he illegally possessed arm and he kills one person, that will be, he'll be charged with illegal possession of arm, obstruction of justice, and and murder. What's the agreement?
Yeah, because he'll be charged with murder in that situation.
Okay, so you thinking about it? What are the chances of this fellow in this situation, based on the news we have been able to gather across the sources?
I think this person will very likely spend the rest of his life in jail. I think so. I don't know about the status of the firearm, but I seriously doubt that it is licensed. Because last time I checked, the number of people that get licensed firearms in Nigeria are not that many, and they have to be very, very important people. These are like politicians that when you hear their names, you know that, oh, these are big names. So which is because of their personal protection most times. So these are the kind of people that usually get. So it has to be someone that when you mention his name, people will know, I know this guy. So not just a guy that is suspected fraud in Oka somewhere that is.
Now we're not possessing license.
That's going to, unless maybe he's a security operative or he's a military guy somewhere and everything. That one too is a possibility, because I met military people working in the military officers who actually possess firearms, and this is legal and in that situation. So, but nothing was mentioned as to whether the guy was
affiliation with any
agency, law enforcement agency. So I seriously doubt that. So I feel like this guy is looking at probably a lifetime in jail, possibly, or if not, okay, there's low chance of death sentence, of course, but definitely he's looking at the rest of his life in prison.
So now that we have ironed it out, we have figured out exactly what the case will likely look like. We don't need to overdo on the matter. It just shows that, in this case, we don't need to drag it. All you people of Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, This guy, let the public courts try him. Let's hear the full story. Let's see as it's unfold. But primarily what I'm seeing is that he's going to be guilty of a lot because we don't know this guy. I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
How he was able to secure a licensed arm, I don't know. Which is like he's already have illegal possession of arm. Then fast forward, you shoot an officer of the law to death.
One more reason why I feel like it's possible that the EFCC agents went maybe early in the morning rather than the 3 a.m. and stuff was because on 2nd November, I think, or 1st November, 2023, the 2024, Ola Olukunle, or what's his name of the EFCC chairman?
Okay.
He said he banned sting operations. Like all those there are random attacks in the middle of the night, he banned it because they used to do that before. He banned it. So if that ban is still there and the EFCC are claiming that these people were serving in their duties, like their honest duty,
okay,
I feel like it's very likely that it was not that 3 a.m. that was being claimed.
Okay. So
not like I'm saying EFCC has not done that in the past.
Yeah. So now wait, even if it's 3 a.m., what are the chances that this guy is going to be let off the hook like that?
That's going to be difficult because they are not going to. I'm sure they are not going to tell you that it's 3 a.m.
Now, before we wrap up this episode, what I would like to, because it's the court of law, everybody will argue. It's 3, it's 4 o'clock. Yeah. I remember when we have a police case, everybody was arguing over with the rate of dollar when they asked us to do refund. Yeah, the rate of dollar was this way. No, it was 700 when we were doing it was 500. Everybody was arguing. So, but that aside, what do you think about possession of arm in Nigeria? Should it be something we should consider? Should Nigerians possess arm? Are we better off?
The concept sounds attractive, but I do not support it generally, like worldwide, anywhere in the world. I believe that it should not be a constitutional right for people to bear arms. And I feel like as much as it seems attractive, people in the US are really suffering from it, given the number of school shootings, public shootings, and everything that happen that we hear about every now and then in US.
Okay.
And I personally believe that it is very key to those shootings, like the constitutional right to bear arms. Imagine that somebody that is not like an 18-year-old guy just being able to pick up a gun, buy a gun easily. Like even things that go on in an 18-year-old's mind. So I don't know if you want to trust such person with firearm, with an assault rifle.
Something that can create a grievous harm like that. I think there is a guy in the media. He was wearing one name that I don't want to mention, and then he killed his girlfriend. Slaughtered something like that.
Cut her head or something.
With knife. Now imagine that kind of person having access to gun. I think there's one Evans at one time that was kidnapping and killing people. Now imagine a country like this where we are giving them. So I think I'm not buying into the idea too.
And there's some people that are that used to make an argument that it will increase if we allow people to have firearms, like it will reduce the number of illegal firearms that
possession people.
Yeah, I don't think that makes any much difference.
What I see is that there will be more possession. People will have a arsenal of
weapons, like
weaponry everywhere to fight imaginary attacks.
You should keep making it as hard as it is. I think that's
because I already see people at different churches who they know themselves. They are shouting fire, kill my enemy, kill. I don't think these people, if they have access to gun, they will not kill their enemy. Literally. Because the way they used to beg God to do it for them is astonishing. You know what I'm talking about. So that's it on this episode. But I said before we go, you are going to hear from Aruno suit. All these amazing suits that we are here wearing are from the brand that is supporting us and making all of this possible. So if you want suit, t-shirt, inner jacket, blazers, tie, all of that is available on Aruno. Go to auruno.com to have any of these things for yourself. And Aruno is delivering 1,000 shirts to schools around Nigeria. So your school might be the lucky school. Drop the name of your school in the comment section. Whether you are University of Ilorin, University of Ibadan, Polytechnic of Uyo, whatever. Drop the name of your school, and your school might be the next lucky school where you will come around to distribute shirts to awesome people, to you and your friends. So share the news. Let everybody know that Aruno is selling suits, selling jackets, selling corporate wears. And we are doing 1,000 t-shirt giveaway. In fact, if you share this, we might get lucky and Aruno will donate 4,000 shirts to us. Because I always talk about 4 things. I remain Elon Jobs. You have heard from Tracy, the amiable law student of the University of Ibadan. And we will see you in the next episode. Thank you.